I recently found out I am pregnant, with triplets. The pregnancy is high risk. The doctor and hospital are 4 hours away from my little hometown. My boyfriend of 2 years is in the army, and he is gone right now. He doesn't know any of this is going on. Stressed about the bills associated with this pregnancy, I decided to rent my home and live in a small apartment next to the hospital. When I found out there was a problem with the babies, I had one day to figure it all out, since the doctors needed to start more testing on the babies. My mom sent my brother to speak to me. He needed a place to live. I gave him a list of small chores to do as his deposit, then told him he needed to transfer the utilities into his name before he could move in. I told him all of this in front of my mom. I typed up what I wanted on an online lease form along with the monthly amount he had to pay. He signed it, handed my mom the keys. She said she would give them to him when it was all done. I found out that the day I left, my brother and his family moved into my home. He didn't do what I had asked for the deposit, so I gave it a couple of days and called the utility company. They said he never transferred the utilities over. I called my brother today and asked him when he's going to transfer the utilities. His reply was, "I quit my job. I got into a fight with my boss. I told him I can't get up at 7 in the morning, it's too early." Then he proceeded to tell me he won't transfer the utilities and that I can't turn them off because it's illegal. So I firmly told him, "It's in the lease, I will evict you." All day I've been getting calls from my other brothers, saying how selfish I am being. So I told them, "I can't afford to carry him. How about you pay his utilities?" Then tonight, I got a very angry message from my mom, saying how selfish I am for not taking care of my brother in his time of need, how he needs me to support him financially right now, how it's unfair I own my own home and he doesn't. She then said how it's easy for me to work, but he struggles with it. Followed up with how rude I was for asking my other siblings to pay the bills. I have never ever had a panic attack in my life, but I had one today. I'm thinking having him there might be too much for me while I'm pregnant. Am I the a-hole for giving him a 30-day notice, then not allowing anyone to stay there until my boyfriend comes home and helps me? Not the a-hole. That brother of yours has some nerve dumping himself financially onto somebody pregnant, with triplets. Kick him out, and take him to court for what he owes you if your family doesn't cover it within a reasonable amount of time. Not the a-hole. Your brother sounds like a leech, and I can't believe the rest of the family thinks it's okay for him to sponge off you when you have your own dilemma to deal with. Persevere with evicting him, but please, also prioritize telling your partner what is happening, babies and bro. Your family might think it's okay to pick on a pregnant woman whose partner is away, but I'm sure their tune will change when he gets wind of what they're doing and pipes up. You should not need to go through this pregnancy unsupported, emotionally if nothing else, by your partner. He can provide support from afar. Or is there a reason why you haven't told him about the babies yet? Not the a-hole. My goodness, all of the times in your life when you need your stress lower, this has to be the biggest. You're not the problem here. Though I do have to ask, you know your brother is like this, right? If you did know your brother quit jobs and had trouble keeping housing, letting him move in was very unwise. Update. OP's new husband here. I want to thank you all. OP's brother got out of the house, locks changed. I want to do a renovation. Add a bedroom off the master for a nursery, later a office. OP wants to rent, use a management company. We are undecided right now. OP has a new phone, new number. I'm still pissed. I won't talk about the a-hole family. I need time. OP is heartbroken. OP has decided no family contact until babies are born. I'm getting married soon and planning a very low-key wedding, mostly for budget reasons. We'll only do a reception lunch after the town hall ceremony in my parents' backyard with close family and friends. And the lunch will be cocktail style. No plates, no assigned seats, just cocktail bites passed around. Since there are about 20 different types of cocktail pieces, I was really careful to try to accommodate everyone's diets, allergies, etc. So there is a mix of vegan, vegetarian, meat and fish options, about 4 to 7 of each. Here comes the issue. My sister-in-law is vegan. She is the only one in our guests, and was unhappy with the vegan options on the menu after my fiancé sent it to her. It's not like the vegan options are bland vegetables and the rest is great. They're actually quite diverse and protein-packed, including a hummus and carrot sandwich and a vegan maki. But she is a picky eater, so she sent my fiancé the contact of a vegan caterer she likes and requested that he order her a plate of cocktail pieces and a vegan cake just for her on the wedding day. Honestly, when I heard this, I was flabbergasted. It seems so rude to me to ask this when, 1, she knows we are tight on budget, and 2, I made specific plans for her to have enough vegan options. It's not like she would have starved. She might be a picky eater, but there were so many options. She could have offered to pay for her caterer, or even take it upon herself to order it on her own. Honestly, if it was me, I would just have a big breakfast and not bother anyone. Note: I like my sister-in-law in general, but I think she can be spoiled, especially by my fiancé. She's almost 40, and for the past 3 years relied on him and their mom to fund her because she decided to change careers and quit her job, which is fine, but I've never seen her being openly grateful to them or trying to be more mindful about her spending habits since. My fiancé stopped sending her money some time ago, but that was just because his mom took over. My fiancé says this is non-negotiable, as he wants to please his sister and will pay for it from his own dime. He thinks I am being insensitive. This happens a couple weeks ago. We argued about it and eventually agreed to disagree, considering in the great scheme of things, it's not a huge deal, and I don't want to be a bridezilla about it. Sorry for all the drama lovers here. So, I still think it's rude, and am genuinely curious if that makes me an a-hole. Not the a-hole. This is her way of having some control of your wedding, and proving that she has control of your fiancé. I foresee lots of issues ahead. Red flags. Not the a-hole. And I really don't think you can afford to leave your fiancé's attitude about this at agree to disagree. Demanding to take over catering at someone else's event when they've already made a sincere effort to accommodate you is unreasonable enough that even a, yeah, she's being ridiculous, but just let her have her way, is already a warning that you're marrying into a family that will happily steamroll you anytime its louder, more belligerent members don't like one of your decisions. Accusing you of being the unreasonable one and calling this non-negotiable. At the very least, you need to figure out when your fiancé actually is prepared to put his foot down in your defense, because that does not fly. Not the a-hole. You accommodated her wishes quite well. She has more than one option that is vegan. We are planning our own wedding at the moment as well, and we agreed that we will not let anyone know our menu beforehand. We will ask that anyone notifies us of preferences and allergies, and those will of course be accommodated. But getting your own caterer just for that, and even daring to demand it. I'd be even considering uninviting her from the wedding, so I think you're actually still being very nice. My brother and sister-in-law's wedding was 2 years ago, which also happened to be the same exact night my son was conceived. To sum it up, I got really drunk and ended up sleeping with sister-in-law's sister later on after the reception, since we were all staying in the same hotel anyways. The only reason my sister-in-law found out we had S was because a couple months later, her sister found out she was pregnant and didn't know how to contact me to tell me I'm the father. We kept our son, obviously. He's 16 months old and the light of my life. We both love him so much. And we are co-parenting, but also taking our relationship very slow. My sister-in-law stayed bitter at me, though, for knocking up her sister, her exact words, and for no good reason. Once I was told she's pregnant, I was fully involved in the whole pregnancy and ready to support her in any way she needed. We were happy with how our relationship is going, not just as parents, but as a couple trying to test the waters without getting too serious. Sister-in-law still acts like I'm scum when I've been nothing but a good father. My son's mom doesn't know why her sister is this way with me either. It's not like I mistreat my son or his mom. She acts so cold when we're at family events. If I literally ask her a question or make conversation, she straight up acts like she heard nothing. I got sick of it recently, so I called her out. She said it's my own fault she's this way for getting her sister pregnant. Again, I ask what the hell's the big deal? It's our life at the end of the day. We don't even have problems as parents. So what was she actually pissed about? That we had S on the night of her wedding. According to her, if it had been any other night, good. But now she's always going to remember her nephew was conceived on her night. That's exactly how she said it. Out loud, I said, "That's what you're making a big deal about?" All this time acting cold to me just because she expected the whole world not to have S on her important night. She would have never known anyways if my son's mom hadn't told her, so it's not like that would have affected her in any way. What I ended up telling her was the world doesn't revolve around her. So why does she have to be such a drama queen about who did what on that night specifically? And why can't she just be happy she has a nephew? I would get her being weirded out or just not happy about it for a short period. But my son is over a year old, and she started acting like this since the pregnancy. So that's why I said drama queen for acting this way for that long. Of course she's pissed. So is my brother. He agrees that it's kind of dumb, but at the end of the day, those are her feelings, and it's not fair to ridicule her for how she sees this. They expect me to apologize to her, but I don't want to. It just really feels ridiculous. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It's not like your son was conceived in the middle of the ceremony. Your sister-in-law is enraged for no good reason at all. Not the a-hole. It's not like you did the devil's tango on her wedding cake. No one knew you guys took a journey to Bonetown that night. All the attention was still on her special day. Just because it came out it was that night after the fact does not retroactively take attention away from her wedding night. Maybe she's having issues in her marriage and is salty that you two are doing so great. She thinks she's the only person at the wedding who had S afterwards? Maybe she didn't get to consummate the marriage that night, and she is still unhappy about it. Not the a-hole. She is being dramatic and silly. If she'd kept the grudge for a little bit and got over it, I'd feel different. But it's been ages. She needs to move on. I am a female, 22, and I live with my brother, 24, my mom, 50, and my brother's ex-girlfriend, 22. This all started about 4 years ago. My brother's girlfriend, not an ex at the time, wanted to live closer to the college she was going to so she could sleep in later, use less gas, get away from her aggressive family, and live with her boyfriend. My brother and I were also going to this college at the same time. The initial agreement was that she stayed for the academic year, and she would move back home. I, at the time, agreed with this. Fast forward a year. Her dad wanted to move across the country. Her mom wanted to follow them. She wanted to stay in the States, so they kicked her out. At this point, she is slowly moving in her things and permanently moving in with us. I was not very happy with this because we had a lot of issues with her. General hygiene, leaving trash and dirty clothes everywhere, and not contributing with chores, which was a part of her agreement to stay with us. She had no place to stay, so I went along with it. She was only supposed to stay 6 months. Now to the present. It has been 4 years. Every few months she has talked about finding a place, and then it fell through without explanation. She got a job 2 years ago and has been paying about $300 in rent. We have since had many more issues with her. One of those including my brother and her broke up a year ago. They both acknowledged that they were in a very toxic relationship. Since then, almost every day has been a fight. My mom and I deal with the fallout daily. The initial issues of hygiene, trash, and cleaning have not gone away no matter how many talks we've had. Not to mention other things, like totaling my mother's and her car by rear-ending my mom at a stop sign. Every day feels like a fight with either her or my brother. The other day, my brother told her either they get back together or he kicks her out. I was furious with my brother. His ex later came back after driving away in anger and said she spoke to her therapist. Even her therapist told her it was time to move out. She has made no effort to do so. So I decided to take it into my own hands. I discussed with both my brother and mother about evicting her. They both agreed, although my brother was hesitant. I went ahead and paid a lawyer to find out everyone's rights and also to draft an eviction notice. I told my brother I've asked and paid for a lawyer to draft an eviction notice, and now he's backing out, saying it's my problem and he won't take part in it. He said this doesn't feel right and that he just wants to be friends with her. This attitude is completely different from a few days ago when he said he would help out and even sign papers if he needed to get her out. Not the a-hole. She's grown and needs to find her own place to trash instead. You've already spent money on this. Don't just give up because your brother changed his mind. It's not just his house, and it's not all about what he wants in the first place. Go for it. Not the a-hole. I know she has history with your family, but she is still a tenant. If she doesn't abide by the rules of your household, why would she get to stay? Tell your brother they can still be friends, just not live together. After all, it affects more than just him. Your family seems to have been more than accommodating, letting her stay for 4 years. Stand firm, and don't let your brother's indecision change your position on the situation. Not the a-hole. Your brother is probably going back and forth with his emotions because of the ex. It sounds like they're still talking about the relationship. Maybe last week he was pissed at her, but suddenly this week things are going well. That's how it is with relationships like that. He has no authority legally. The ex has been a problem from the beginning and needs to go. Go forward with the eviction. Your brother might react harshly, or he might be fine with it by the end of the 30 days. Be prepared for him to possibly act out while this is happening, but it will ultimately be very worth it.